Hi everybody, Janae here. I wanted to come and do a very quick review of the Red Rising series. So I know that typically people review, one book at a time. I could do that, and I probably should do that, but I'm going to talk about this series as a whole, as the last part of it just came out, Morning Star. And by the way, all of these books are by Pierce Brown. All of these books I read on my Kindle, and so I'll try and put pictures of them here so that you can see what they look like. But yeah, the series is ridiculous. It's phenomenal. I gave every single book in this series a 5 out of 5 star rating, and clearly that means that the series averages out to 5 out of 5 stars. It is, at this point, it's a trilogy. It is my favorite trilogy of all time, hands down. And Pierce Brown is now an auto-buy author for me. Until I fall out of love with something that he's written, I will forever just continuously pick up his books. I actually reviewed this series on my blog that I talked about a few times. I'm going to link that review down below, and really just kind of say how, and this is non-spoiler, by the way, no spoilers, but I just want to talk about, basically this is like me saying you need to get these books and read them. Just kind of the themes of loyalty and honor and betrayal and agency. I keep coming back to books about agency and who has agency over other people's lives and what you do with that. Equality, family, everything you can imagine and want in a book. This book delivers it, and it's set against the most stunning backdrop in outer space. How can it get any better than that? It's just, I loved it. It's a sci-fi fantasy series, and it's also dystopian. And as I said in my written review, if none of those things interest you, think about picking up the series anyway. At least Red Rising. And if you don't want to finish the series after finishing Red Rising, I won't press the topic any longer. But I picked it up on a whim because I'm not actually very much into sci-fi, and I'm not super into fantasy all the time either. But I love these books. I bought Red Rising. I think it was on sale on Amazon Kindle, and I was like, oh, this sounds pretty interesting. I'll check it out. Let me see if I like it. I read it, immediately bought Golden Sun, which is the second book. And at the end of Golden Sun, I didn't realize that Morning Star hadn't been released yet. And I was so upset because this isn't a spoiler, but Golden Sun ends on the biggest cliffhanger ever. And I'm so happy that I read the books when I read them and not when they first came out, because if I had to wait a year for the conclusion to this story, I would have pulled out my hair. But they were just they were well written. There was no plot line left unturned. There were no plot holes at the end of this that I noticed. Everything was wrapped up. Everything made sense. Everything was epic. I mean, the story, it's such a fast-paced story. I will say, Red Rising, the first book in the trilogy, it took me maybe 75 to 100 pages to really get invested. But when I tell you that once the world opens up, it just completely opens up and it's just fast-paced from there. There's a little bit of world building, there's a little bit of setting the stage, and even now that I know the whole story, going back and reading Red Rising is going to be super interesting, because I'll be, I think, even more interested in the little details of what was happening at the beginning of that book. But again, when it opened up, it shot open, I was baffled and intrigued, and it was just fantastic, and it didn't stop from there. There was just action after action after action, and yes, there were periods of rest, but they were also kind of fraught with tension. It's a very epic battle series, and I just really, really enjoyed reading it. I think I've mentioned on this channel before that I'm not typically the type of person that will like read a book on my Kindle and then go buy the print copy. Like, I already have the book. I don't need another copy of it. I'm not one with like multiple copies of books, and this is not a judgment of anyone who does that. That's not how I choose to spend my money. But I will say that I will probably purchase the hardcover copies of each of these books. Like I said, I read them on my Kindle, and I just feel like it'll be a little bit of a different experience reading it in a hardcover book, and I just kind of want to fall into these books again. I'm so excited, and so at some point soon I'm going to get the entire trilogy in, you know, a print copy, and I will be one of those people for the Red Rising trilogy because it was fantastic. Hopefully that inspired you to want to pick up the books, at least Red Rising, to see what all the hype is about. And I hope that you do. If you have read it, if you're interested in reading it, if you have questions, anything like that, I would love to discuss this book or these 3 books and the trilogy as a whole. I just think it's fantastic. And so, yeah, definitely leave comments if you are interested in any way in this series. But that being said, I want to keep this pretty brief. I'm going to let you all go. I will thank you again for being here with me and spending time with me. You don't have to do it, and you do it anyway, and it baffles me and astounds me, but I greatly appreciate it. I'm going to leave it there and just say goodbye, and I will see you in the next video.